Yes, welcome to Football Heritage TV. Back for another episode of Tottenham Fever with Stelios. Stel, somebody has already described this as no bias. What did they say? They said no bias, no fluff, not for the faint-hearted. What does that mean? What does that say about us? Are we massively negative? Is that what this is, or are we just talking truths? What's happening?
Well, first of all, hello to you. Hello to everyone in the chat. Hello to everyone that's watching the show. Hello to anyone who watches this show later on and watches the repeat. But it's a great question. It's a great question. I think there's a place for everyone to have a view and opinion and to tell the world what they think and to have guests come on and say what they want. But I think you've got like different types of fans within the Spurs community. But I do think the Spurs community is the weirdest out of all the clubs, because you've got like some channels. Let's just do it by channels, okay? Because that comment was about the channel. You've got some channels that will always be positive, always find the good in the bad, always tell you that everything's going to be great, and then they rinse and repeat it every single year, even though we win nothing. You've got some people that say things, but they've got to be careful what they say because they've got contracts with the media, or they only have guests from the media and musicians and actors, and they're contracted, so they've got to be careful what they say. So they can never really say what they want. So I call them media puppets. That's just what I call them. Then you've got some fans that are balanced. They sit it from that side, they sit from that side. Then you've got some channels that are like, look, I just need to say exactly what I see. I can't hold back. If I think it's good, I'll say it's good. If I think it's an absolute joke, I've got to speak on it. And then you've got some channels where they just want to get a group of people together and all have a bit of a laugh and a giggle, and it's more of a kind of a family dinner party.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with any of these groups, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just it's down to personal preference, isn't it? And look, I like to have a laugh as well. I like to have a laugh, but one thing I will never do, one thing I can never do, I can't pretend I like players that I don't. I can't pretend that just because Spurs sign a player that I love them. For example, I get a lot of stick at the moment about Brennan Johnson. I'm sorry. I won't pretend that I really, really like a player just because we spent 50 million on him and he might come good. That's just not me. But listen, still, I want to start today's show by there's no transfer news as such. I think all the transfer news I'm seeing at the moment is pure. It's really clutching at straws. It's the likes of God, what's his name? A Polish lad. Is it Mazuski? Noosa's the only one that's kind of really going on at the moment, but that's all gone very quiet and is one for the future. Other than that, not a lot is going on. So I'm going to ask you, we've got FA Cup this week. It's been flying around this question again, Stel. Top four or Champions League? For me, I want both, but for to make the show interesting, I'm going to say to you, what do you prefer as a fan? Do you prefer the top four? Or if you were offered to win the FA Cup, which would you take? And everyone in the chat, what would you take? What would you take, people in the chat?
I would always take the FA Cup. I'd take the Carabao Cup over top four. Some people definitely won't take that. I will always put silverware over top four because top four is not success. Top four is only success for the owners because then they have more access to cash and cash flow. Top four is not a barometer that in 5 years' time you'll look back at and say, oh, do you remember who got top four? No one gives a damn. If I said to you, Savva, who got top four 7 years ago, you need to Google that because no one cares. But if I was to say to you, Savva, who won the Premier League 7 years ago, you'd probably know. So for me, it's always about silverware. History will always remember and measure those that win silverware. Not every club can win silverware. Not every club, no club, has got any divine right to win silverware. But, and I say this, and I say this, I've said this many a time. Stop calling us a big club if we don't win silverware. It's an absolute con. If we're a big club, win trophies, because that's what big clubs do. Call us a big business. Yes, we're a big business. We make lots of money. We've got lots of assets. We've got a lot of wealth. We've got a lot of power. We're a big business. But a big club, we can't. I struggle to say that we're a big club because we don't win anything. So it has to be the FA Cup over top four every single time, always.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I still see so many fans still talk about top four's more important, top four's more important. Now, don't get me wrong. Still, I'm going to caveat this again by saying, for me, I don't understand why it can't be both. But this is the question that goes round. Yeah, it can and should be both. Listen, Man City, Liverpool, these clubs don't sit around at the beginning of the year going, are we going to win the FA Cup? We're going to finish top four. They're talking about, are we going to win the FA Cup and the league? Or, so look, for me, I've always thought that if you are a massive club that are winning things every year, if you don't win the FA Cup, like if Man City this year win the league and the Champions League, they're not going to look back and go, oh, we had a really poor year because we didn't win the FA Cup. But when you are a club that hasn't won a trophy for 16 years, I think it's really, really imperative that we do. Now, whether or not that's this year, I don't know. I don't know. That's why I was really disappointed at the League Cup exit, because I thought that the League Cup is more of a chance where you can really go for it, especially for a team that's playing once a week. But take yourself out of your mindset for the moment. Yeah. Why do you think there are a lot of fans that would say, "Oh, top four over FA Cup"? What is the rationale there?
They've been brainwashed. I work with young football players and I try and progress them into the pro academy game, right? When I first started, kids would argue, no. Henry, he's much better than Paul Scholes, or they'd argue that Berbatov is better than Ashley Cole, and they'd argue over which players were better. Now, when I hear kids arguing like rival conversation, but we've got £100 million to spend because we sold this player and you can't afford to buy that player, and we've got a new stadium that's going to make more money. So next year, and I'm listening to the conversation, I'm thinking, these are kids. You're arguing over the finances of football. 10 years ago, you used to have like these top trump cards, and you'd argue over which player had the best shooting or the best assists or the best defending. And so if children are arguing over finances, adults are going to be worse. We've now been conditioned to think like businessmen. And Savva, if you listen to most of the debates and arguments, we're arguing over money. We're arguing over affordability. We're arguing over how difficult it is to spend money in a transfer window. We're arguing over FFP. We're arguing over cash flow. We're not all entrepreneurs. We're not all expert businessmen. We're not all finance experts. But yet, we find ourselves arguing these points. The media, the clubs have conditioned fans to start thinking different. And because of it, we associate top four with more money. More money means you can spend on more players, and you can spend more on more expensive players. So because we've been conditioned to think like business people, top four is success. Whereas if you're a football fan, and we just go back to our humble beginnings, what the hell are we talking about? It's about winning silverware, people. What is the purpose of elite sport? What is the purpose of it?
This is what I was going to move on to. And listen, it's something I've been praying for a very long time. What I'm about to say is, I get it. The rationale is, and people still to this day say, look, if you get, and I'll play along with it, if you get top four, right? Champions League is where all the players want to play. As a club, you become more attractive, right? Now, in theory, that's wonderful. In theory, right? If I lose weight, if I get a six-pack, if I have a dapper haircut, I'm going to pull more girls on a night out. Doesn't necessarily mean that's true. And that's what I'm going to liken it to with Spurs. We get Champions League. We have done, someone said the other day, it was something like, is it 9 of the last 16 years or something? Something like that. Someone will tell me I'm wrong. 9 of the last 16 years, we've made top four. So far, we've never really gone, and I'm not just going to sit and dig out Levy or whatever, but we've never really gone, right, we're in the top four now. We're in the Champions League. Let's really kick on. What we do is we still buy, and I'm not knocking it, we still buy the nooses, who we should be able to buy anyway without Europe, like now, right? We've shown we can buy players like Dragoshin like that now. When we get into the Champions League, that's where I want to see still that we go, all right, in the summer, we went for Werner, we went for Dragoshin, good players, whatever. Now I want the next level. But that's the disappointment, I think, for people like me and you, isn't it? That we've not done that. We've not grasped that moment and gone, we are serious. Let's go.
So taking your six-pack dapper haircut, I'm going to pull all the birds analogy, right?
Yeah.
The Spurs fan base will say, nah, you're talking nonsense. As long as you've got lots of money and you pull up in a Lamborghini, you'll pick up all the chicks in the club, Savva. And that's how we've been conditioned now. It's okay to be out of shape, a big belly, and to just not look that great, as long as you've got a Lambo, game on. So it's a weird one. But yeah, I agree. I don't remember a time Spurs ever getting top four and we've attracted a different caliber of player. I actually think we've signed our best players when we haven't had top four. For example,
I agree.
Eriksen's, Dele Alli's when he was in his prime, Moussa Dembele's, Toby Alderweireld. Even now, without top four, Van de Ven, Maddison, these are top players. I actually think we do better signing players outside the top four, which completely contradicts what everyone says should be happening. Because when we do get top, it's almost like once we've got top four, the board become content. It's like, job done. We've got what we want. Whereas if they really wanted to try and win a Premier League or to win a European trophy, they'd say, right, we've got top four. Now let's go for the kill. Let's go and get Chiesa. Let's go and get Vlahovic. Let's get Kvaratskhelia. Let's get Bowden.
But why has this changed? Like, listen, I'm talking like we're really old. We're older. We're older, but we're not. Yeah. We're not old. When I was growing
up, we're not vintage. We're not vintage.
No, we're not vintage yet. I still reckon I could go and play in a Vets League and get 25, 30 minutes in the tank. Right? But when I was growing up, it was all about winning a trophy. It was all about, I don't ever remember top four being a phrase. I don't remember people celebrating finishing second and third. It was you either won the league, you won the FA Cup, or you won it wasn't ever called the League Cup, was it? It was like the Rumbelows or I don't know, some nonsense like that. But it was about winning. It was about winning trophies. Now I feel like the money coming into the game, I understand it, right? Listen, if I take my I don't like leaving Enoch, I understand it. I understand why them as owners and other owners want the money. I get it. We're football fans. When I go to the pub, if I'm rowing with my Arsenal mates and my Liverpool mates, my Chelsea mates, I can't sit there and go, oh, but we finished in front of you in the last 5 seasons, or look at our stadium, it's better than yours, or we've made more money than you, or we've done better than you in FFP. They'll all sit there and go, and look what we've won in the last 20 years. Right? They will all sit there and say to me, look what we've won. So why are fans so financially driven when it comes to discussing their football club now? Why are we not discussing footballing matters only?
Like I said, we've been brainwashed. You've got channels that are obsessed with it. You've got the media who get paid off of it, right? The media gets paid off of the rise of football becoming a business, so they're going to push it. Everyone's get agents. You've got super agents now because of the finances of these businesses. Everyone is getting paid off of it. So doesn't it make sense for them to push it down our throats and get us talking about it as well, if this is how they get paid? It's one well-orchestrated brainwashing exercise. It started with FIFA and then UEFA, and now it's at local level, and here we are. I think as well, Savva, a lot of fans have just forgotten what being a fan of a big club is about. Even being a fan of any club. Like, I'll give an example. If you think of the songs that we sing on a match day, Glory, Glory, Tottenham Hotspur, or Spurs are on their way to Wembley, we're going to win the cup, or we're going to win the league. These are all songs about lifting silverware. Is there one song, we've got more money than you, we've got more money than you, or FFP till I die, I'm FF? There's none of that. All the songs are about winning silverware, but yet we're engrossed in this world of money, finance, salaries, and I just think it's because everyone gets paid off of it. Everyone gets paid off of football being a business nowadays. Even even managers. I was speaking to someone on the weekend. I'm going up to the Etihad campus next month for some youth football tournaments. And I was speaking to one of the people that's involved. Pep Guardiola's uncle or brother is involved or owns a Spanish club, and Ten Hag's agent or brother, I can't remember the exact what he said.
Yeah.
He owns a club, and it's like they're all intertwined in this network of wealth. So everyone is getting paid off of this. So it's in their interest to talk about it so that we buy into it. So we keep feeding them what they want. And I just feel as fans, I don't know. Look, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, Savva. I don't know what the answer is.
Well, look, we're going to talk about the Man City game in a minute. Before we do, a couple of comments. Ram, big up to you. I said, how highly do you rate Bentancur compared to other midfielders in the league, especially Odegaard? Seems like a very loaded question there. Feels like you didn't want to say other midfielders. You just wanted to say who's better, Bentancur or Odegaard. I mean, still, he's a very good footballer, Bentancur, isn't it? I mean, just for me, what I need to see is a period of time where he stays fit and puts a string of performances together over 15, 20, 30 games before I think everyone will really give him the credit. I'm not doubting his ability, but availability is very, very key.
I think Bentancur's a quality player. I really think that he's got the whole package. He can score goals. He can create goals. His passing is excellent. His technical ability, his intelligence, his control of the ball, his ability to keep possession of the ball, either as an individual or in a team, his tackling. I actually think that you're right. If he stayed fit and healthy for a long period of time, you'd probably say he's one of the best midfielders in the league. I'm prepared to say that. I think I think he can play in the Man City team. I think he can play in a Liverpool team. I think he can play in most top clubs in Europe. The only thing with Bentancur is that one big injury, and then he came back. He got injured again. But comparing him to Odegaard's a bit unfair because Odegaard's more of an attacking mid. Bentancur's more of a 6-8
footballers. Yeah,
different. Yeah, they're different players. But I feel
like we do this a lot.
Over Odegaard.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like we do this a lot, though. Like, I always feel like if you're going to judge a player, judge him against someone who plays in the same position. But listen, I think Bentancur's a really good footballer. When people say to me, is he world class, all this sort of stuff, for me, I think this is what happens over time. I think, again, availability, sustainability, consistency, all of the C's at the end. For me, that is the difference. There's a lot of players where you can safely say that because they've done it year after year, year in, year out. For me, get him fit, keep him fit. Let's hope he can have a full season next year where he's no injuries, and then let him show that he's one of the best in the league. But look, Odegaard's a very good footballer for me. Not enough. I don't think he's a big enough difference maker for me to put him from that level to that level. Just for me, I think he's very good. Technically, he's got it all, but not quite enough for me still to take him from there to match winning, dragging his team to a title.
Yeah, it's weird because last season I thought Odegaard was fantastic, and when he came to White Hart Lane with Arsenal, he was brilliant. And I sat there watching him tearing us apart, and I thought, I can't watch this anymore. I actually feel sick. And he was part of the reason they almost won the league. He was actually a very, very good young player at Real Madrid as well. He was a very good player there. I remember my brother saying to me, we should try and sign that Odegaard. And I said to him, I'm sick of all these kids. Turns out he is a good player. But what's happened is, and it goes back to what you said, someone's only class, we need to give it time to decide. This season, he hasn't been good. He just hasn't been nowhere near the level of last year. So from looking like a player that was potentially going to be one of the best in the league for his position and on his way to becoming a class player, he took a big dip. A bit like Saka. Took a dip. Although Saka has been okay, I feel that Odegaard this year has taken a step backwards. So it goes back to what you said. We need to let's judge Odegaard over 5 years in the Premier League, and then we can say what we really think about him.
Mm. Yeah. By the way, Matthew Ball, you're spot on. I caveated this and said, listen, for me, it's FA Cup and top four. I did caveat that. I just think it's a conversation that rumbles round and round and round. Let's have a look at a few other comments I wanted to have a look at. This one is, so James Hunter's is on one. James has said it. Anyone can win when they are financially doped. Well, that's not true. Man United have spent an absolute fortune in the last decade and haven't managed to win a Premier League. The difference is some teams spend their money well, James. Other teams don't. If you look at Man United, they've spent more money than Man City in the last decade. And Man City have won 5, 6, 7 titles, Champions Leagues, and Man United haven't. So it's not just when you're saying financially doped, you've got to do the right thing with the money, for me.
And one of the most doped clubs in Europe, in the world, have never won a European trophy, PSG. So,
but yeah, absolutely. By the way, sorry, last comment was from NA, and NA has said, well, the top four is a more difficult achievement than the FA Cup. It is, but you don't win anything. It doesn't go down in history, NA. I think that's half the problem, right? I don't think anyone's knocking finishing fourth, but it was never a thing. It was never a thing growing up. I mean, Spurs finished third a number of times when I was younger. No one celebrated. I don't remember it ever being celebrated. We were more worried about, are we going to win this cup? Like, do you know what I mean? Are we going to Wembley? Are we winning this cup? Are we playing in a cup final?
Savva, if I was to ask you, or anyone in the chat, when's the last time we won a cup?
Yeah, you know. Yeah. 2008.
And that's the whole point, isn't it? You remember glory. You don't remember the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we are going to get onto the Man City game in a minute because it all ties into the FA Cup, what we're talking about. CGG has said 95% of the banter towards us has to do with lack of trophies, the most important part of football. The City game, most important season. GG, completely agree with you. It is Stel alluded to earlier, the old style top trump cards. Yeah. Always. The barometer for me in football is trophies. That, like, you know, I'm prepared to build and grow and win them, but it's always trophies. And if you've got Tottenham Hotspur in your card and someone put down trophies 28, you go, oh God, I'm Spurs. I can't play that card. Do you know what I mean? So that's how that is. Listen, Stel, we've got Man City away. It's interesting what I'm seeing. I'm asking this question every day to people because I've seen, you know, when you do YouTube for a long time and you see patterns forming. And the pattern forming was 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, when it was announced that we were playing Manchester City. Everyone in my chat was, oh, we'll win that. They don't score at our ground. Poor, 3-0, 2-0. Spurs, we've got their number. Now I'm asking it every day. I'm seeing a shift every day that it's slowly going, oh, I don't know, 1-0. Or I don't know, 2-1 City. Why is that shift slowly happening? And why are we, so many of our fans are like uber confident that it's Man City, we'll be all right. Why?
The same reason they said we'd go to Old Trafford and win 3-0. The same reason they said we'd beat Brighton 3-0. The same reason they said we'll smash West Ham 4-0 and we didn't win any of those games. It's just, we've been so starved of anything at this club that suddenly we've been given a plate full of crumbs and we think it's a 3-course meal. And it's, right. Yeah, this is amazing. Yeah. Look, I think with the City game, there's just a history of bogey team, voodoo. It's a bit like Chelsea. No matter where they are, no matter where we are, you know, when we play Chelsea, it's just going to go wrong, right? And I think the same applies with Man City, where a lot of fans think, look, yeah, they are better than us, and yeah, we have got players missing, but you know what? We own them. We just own them, and I think that's where a lot of it comes from. The only thing I'll say this time, and it's what I said on your show on Sunday, we've never actually beaten them under this really good patch that we've had playing them when Kane and Son have both not been on the pitch. That's never happened. Right. We've never ever played them. And when I watched us against Burnley, we looked terrible. And when we played against Man United, we just didn't look convincing in the final third. And I think without Kane is one thing. Without Son, we look very susceptible up front. And I think that if City do get in behind us, which they will, and if City do take their chances, which normally they don't against us, but if they do, I don't know this time round if we've got what it takes to get the goals at the other end. So I think this game's a little bit different to the previous games. Although, if anyone was to nick it, I'd say Spurs, only because of the bogey thing, the whole voodoo. But this is a slightly different. This is a different. We can't look at it as we've done with previous games because I think the Son factor is very telling.
I agree. Son bearing down on goal, catching them out of a high line has been a theme when we've played them before. And I don't know if any of the other forwards we've got are good enough to capitalise the way some would be on that. Now, when I look at it, I feel like you can almost see how this game is going to go. The same way that we said how the Man United game was going to go in terms of Spurs having a lot of the ball, Man United sitting back, but Spurs not being able to really break it down. The Man City game for me, I think, is going to be really, really interesting because Man City are used to playing against teams that play a low block. Right? They're used to playing teams that sit back, like when they played Newcastle the other week. Newcastle knew they were superior, right? And it was a case of come and break us down. Come on, keep probing and break us down. We don't do that to teams. And yes, we got a 3-3 against them at their ground a few months ago where they missed a number of chances. For me, are they going to miss that number of chances against Stel? Because you and I both know they're going to have plenty of chances against Spurs. Everyone does. So what do you make of that aspect of the game?
If you're a betting man, you'd say, no, they're not going to miss those chances again. No. But if there was one team that they would miss them against, it's us. Spurs. And this is the whole voodoo bogey team situation we've got with them. Look, everything comes to an end at some point. We went to Stamford Bridge a few years ago with Poch and we beat them 3-1. Like, we put that to bed and we're back to normal now. At some point, City are going to put one on us. They are. It happens. Everyone breaks the duck at some point. This is City's best chance to do it, in my view. So if we were to lose to them, this is their time to do it. However, if we beat City, Savva, I won't be surprised because it's just the kind of weird football fairy tale stuff that seems to happen when us two play each other. I think the fact we're at our ground favours us. I think if we were going to their ground, I think we lose. I think if this was at the Etihad, we lose. We're not putting one on them without.
But as we said, have we got the firepower to take them down? I thought we looked absolutely toothless. If I'm brutally honest, I thought we looked toothless against United. I thought, let's be fair, United, we scored from a corner and Bentancur with some good footwork, right? But we didn't really create anything open. Burnley, it took a Porro super strike. We didn't really create a lot against Burnley either. Everton, we created minimal. Brighton, again, and it was only once we were 4-0 down that we started to play. Have we got enough up top to take down a team that have lost 1 in 20 and are scoring an average of 3.1 goals a game in all competitions right now?
I think in terms of one-on-one chances and actually breaking City apart, cutting them open and creating really good goal-scoring chances, I don't think we do. Because I don't rate Timo Werner. I think Brennan Johnson is a waste of money. And Richarlison's only good from set pieces and tap-ins. So I do think Richarlison can score against them. A cross, a free kick into the box. He can rise. And if we get one good cross, let's say Porro drills one near post and Richie gets in for a tap-in, I think we can score like that. But maybe a wonder strike from distance, that's possible. But in terms of actually cutting City open and creating wave after wave of attack by breaking them down, no, this front line just isn't good enough. But saying that, if Maddison's back, Kulu's back, that changes it. That does change it a bit. But will Maddison be able to play 90 minutes? He hasn't played for 2.5 months. I think he'll be like Bentancur against Palace, where he comes on for the last 20 minutes. He's had quite a bad injury. He's been out for a while. Is Kulusevski got 100? Has he got 90 minutes in him? I don't know. So as it stands, if it's Werner, Ritchie, and Johnson, no, I don't think that's good enough.
Because I think it's going to be Werner, Ritchie, and Johnson with Kulu coming into the midfield in place of either Skip or Højbjerg. That's what I think it will be. I mean, I don't know. We've seen him. I would say normally, let's put it this way. If James Maddison played for Liverpool or Man City, they wouldn't rush him back into this game. Is that fair? They just wouldn't. They haven't rushed Kevin De Bruyne back, right? Because they don't need to. I think that we might rush him back. But as I said to you the other day, Stel, the big thing for me is that I don't think people take into account. Brilliant for going forward, but playing against a team that keep the football and make you chase it for 90 minutes is having a half-fit player in your midfield three. Is that the game to do it? You know, it's going to be a lot of pressing. It's going to be a lot of harrying, a lot of closing down when they're trying to bring the ball out. Is that a danger with... I completely agree with what this person just said, by the way. Is it a danger? Is it a danger that you put Maddison in and he might not have the legs for that? He's been out a long time.
You can't start Maddison. You can start Maddison, but at best, you're going to get 30 minutes out of him. It's similar to Bentancur when he came back against Crystal Palace. We gave him 30 minutes. Look what happened. Van der Ven came back against Man United. Then he had to go off. We played him too much in that game. Van der Ven played too many minutes in that game. He felt something in the leg. Was it cramp? Was it the muscle pulling again? We don't know. But to bring back a player that's been out for 2-3 months that hasn't had match day fitness. It's one thing training in a gym and out on the field with your teammates. It's another thing doing fitness training when someone's trying to come in and tackle you, when someone's trying to come in and barge you. It's a different type of fitness. So for me, Maddison at most, give him 30 minutes. Yeah, I would bring him on towards the end of the game when we begin to maybe tire a bit, or when we begin to try and, right, let's go for it now. Bring him on as a surprise package and see if he can create something special in the last 30 minutes. I wouldn't start him because I think that means we finished the game weak. I'd rather finish the game stronger.
Yeah. Listen, by the way, I these are purely discussion points, right? Because you know what people like in the chat, they'll go around going, "Oh my God, have you heard it? Savva doesn't want Maddison to play." That's not what I'm saying at all. James Maddison, for me, as you know, Stel, we've had this chat a lot. He's the glue. Maddison for me is what we haven't had at this football club for 4 or 5 years since Prime Ericsson. I'm just worrying. I watched Newcastle do it. Their midfield three looked shattered. They spent the whole game chasing Rodri, chasing Bernardo Silva, chasing, I think in that game it was Kovacic, but in this game it might be De Bruyne. You don't know. Let's talk about the De Bruyne factor. Look, first and foremost, before we talk about him in this game, he gets talked about a lot, right? World-class, generational, quality player, elite player. This guy embodies every one of those words, right? Surely this is the one player where it doesn't split opinions and everyone says, Jesus, he's different class. And him coming back against Newcastle, that 25-minute cameo was just different gravy, wasn't it?
For me, Glenn Hoddle in the 80s, Xavi Alonso at Liverpool, and Kevin De Bruyne are three of the best passers of the ball I've seen play the game in terms of pinpoint accuracy on the pass. Yeah. For me, De Bruyne's passing is sublime. That ball for the winning goal was, if Glenn Hoddle did that, we'd be going absolutely doolally, right? I think De Bruyne is the best I think he's the best passer of the ball in Premier League era. I think he's that
in the entire era, yeah.
As a passer of the ball, yeah.
Let's ask the crowd while this is going on, just quickly. Yeah, let's ask the chat. Who
Premier League? Not
the Premier League era, so 1992, so don't say Glenn Hoddle, 1992, right the way through to now, who are we putting on par or better, and say on par or better than Kevin De Bruyne's range of passing? I won't say any names. Let's see what names you get. We'll go to that in a minute still.
And it's the range of passing, whether it's over the top,
Agreed.
on the ground, short range, distance. If you look at the Champions League quarter-final and beat Man City, that ball that he whipped in, back post for the tap-in, his passing reminds me of Glenn Hoddle. And that is some praise, because for me, Hoddle was God. People from rival clubs, even Arsenal fans, say Glenn Hoddle was the best English player this country's ever produced. I've heard that from many a fan. Mate, De Bruyne, when he just plays those balls, the guy is world class. He's world class.
He is different gravy. Just really, really quickly, James Hunter again. Sorry, mate, you don't understand context. If you actually listen to what I said, I didn't say. I'm pretty sure I literally just said to Stel, we went there and controlled the game. I'm pretty sure I said we'd have all the ball. If you listen to that, never did I mention that we didn't. What I said was we didn't actually really create anything. And that's the difference, James. We can control a game, but if you don't create chances at the end of it, it's pretty redundant. That was my point. So that was my point about City.
Surely if you're in control of a game the way you've described, you win the game. Is controlling the game not winning it? Like we've completely controlled this. They couldn't get into us. We put a few past them. We won the game. What James is saying is we had good possession stats. That's what he's saying, which I agree with. But you got to convert that possession into positive outcomes, and a positive outcome is to get 3 points.
Yeah,
a draw wasn't bad. A draw wasn't bad, but I think you're making it sound more than what it was.
Yeah, I came away from that game. You know, even in the last 10, 15 minutes, I didn't feel that we really applied pressure. We had a lot of the football, a hell of a lot of the ball, but we didn't really. Like I asked everyone, Stel, after the game, the Romero header that hit the bar in the first half. Werner had a couple of chances in the first half, which he dragged wide. In the second half, do you remember any? Do you remember Onana having to really? No, I don't remember us really doing anything. No. I know people want to be offended by everything that is said. Don't be offended. It's just a fact. We didn't really create a lot. Smash the like button, people. Sorry, go on, mate.
Savva, what I will say is, I was content with that result at Old Trafford, because when I saw the starting lineup and I saw Skip and Højbjerg in the middle, Werner and Brennan and Richie up front, I thought, God help us. Other than Bentancur, there's no quality here. I'm worried.
Agreed.
So to come out with a 2-2 result, a draw, and having controlled possession, for me, I thought, do you know what? That's a good point, Tottenham. That was a good point that we've taken from Old Trafford, where normally we lose. But we should have won it. When you look at the stats, we should have won it, but we lacked, like you said, we were toothless up front.
Yeah. Look, let's have a look at some passers of a ball. Let's have a look at some names and then we'll discuss them, right? I'll go through the list of names. Harry Kane, easy. I'm going to disagree straight away there completely. No. Great passer of a ball, not on De Bruyne's level for me. Alonso, I think there was one Stel alluded to. Kane, not for me. Trent, good passer of the ball, not the same level for me as De Bruyne. Beckham, now Big Dave B had a wonderful array of passing.
Yeah.
Luka Modric as a passer of the ball, great passer.
The only thing I'll say, Modric couldn't whip in a ball from out wide to the back stick in front of the centre-backs, then curving away from the goalie the way De Bruyne does. When De Bruyne whips the ball into the box to the back stick, it is frighteningly good. That part of the game, Modric, I've never really seen him have.
Yeah, absolutely. Other players, people are chucking Paul Scholes. Rodney's putting in. Emerson Royale. I don't think I've ever seen him complete a 5-yard pass. Again, Luka Modric, James Maddison. Look, Maddison's a great passer of football, but not in that. Again, it's levels, isn't it? It's here.
It's the level below. It's the level below. Yeah.
Harry Kane. Again, I'm going to respectfully disagree. Great passer of a football, but De Bruyne is just, for me, different gravy. Harry Kane is a better passer than KDB.
No.
Harry Winks. Harry Winks.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Beckham, Kane, Silva, Trent. JJ Okocha being chucked. I mean, JJ Okocha was supremely skillful.
I think as a dribbler, he's better than De Bruyne, but as just a passer of the ball, no, not for me.
Trent does that type. Listen, Trent's got a lovely pass on him. But
yeah, Trent does have a good pass.
He's got a lovely pass on him. But De Bruyne's, I think you summed it up still, what you said in the first instance. It's the range. It's the full package of passing. Kane, for me, had a wonderful through ball. I thought he had a wonderful through ball, a wonderful sweeping pass. Lovely, brilliant. De Bruyne, for me, runs games of football. For me, there's a huge difference. And the ball he played last week against Newcastle, I think you'd be hard-pressed to go back over the last 5 years in the Premier League and find many better. You might find a couple, but that was as good as it gets when it comes to passing.
And let's have it right. This is a guy that's been out for months and months and months. He comes on the pitch, doesn't need to get into the game, doesn't need a warm-up, and it's bang, bang.
Yeah.
That is class. Absolute class.
At
Real Madrid,
I'll give him that. Not Arsenal. He didn't set the world like Arsenal. Sandy Cush saying we had the better stats, not just possession. Listen, we had better stats against Man United. Yes, we did. I'm not doubting that. But again, Stanley Cush, stop giving me throwaway comments. Answer my question. What did we create in that second half other than the goal we scored? I can't remember in that second half Onana having to do anything. I don't remember goal line clearances. I don't remember shots hitting the post. I don't know. Remind me, and we'll talk about it. Xavi, sublime passer of football.
He never played in the Premier League, Ryan.
Yeah, true. Carrick, great passer of a ball. Different type of passer for me. I think Carrick was your quarterback, wasn't he? Carrick was your, everything he did was from deep, setting up play, starting off play.
Carrick was good at connecting the dots.
Yeah.
Carrick was good at connecting the dots.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, there's not many. Look, and anyway, we'll go back to it, right? Kevin De Bruyne comes on. The goal he scored, not many people in world football could score. That passing it 25 yards out into the net through the legs of a defender, I thought was sublime. Then the pass. He kept getting on the ball. He kept getting on the ball out wide on the right, whipping dangerous balls in as well. If he plays, we don't know if he's going to start. If he plays, is that a difference maker right there towards Spurs being knocked out the cup and being in the cup?
No, I can't wait to see Højbjerg marking him. I think it'll be a wonderful.
Him or Skip. Him or Roddy Skip, yeah? Oh.
Yeah, De Bruyne raises the levels for Man City. There's no doubt. It's going to be just makes it a lot harder for us on the day. But again, he's played in Man City teams that can't beat us in the past. So
sure,
it's a difficult one to say. Yeah, right. De Bruyne is playing. That's it. We're in trouble. But 100% City are much harder to play against when De Bruyne is playing for them as opposed to him not. So it just makes it a lot harder for us on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a couple of comments here before we go back to that. First of all, Martin Knightsbridge with a super chat. Thank you so much, Martin. Really appreciate you. And also Khaleesi in that picture there. Big up to you and Khaleesi. He said, bang on Stel. Hod was God. Unbelievable player. And I think, Martin, what this goes to show me is the number of players I get heard talked about now as being world-class, generational. Never saw players like Glenn Hoddle, like Chris Waddle. These were geniuses with a football at their feet. And we got people calling Bukayo Saka world-class. You know what I mean? Like that's the level we're at.
If I could sum up Glenn Hoddle as to how class the man was, go to the 1991 FA Cup semi-final replay where he's got the ball, edge of the box, he can pass it wide, he can take a shot, he can beat a man. No, he looks around and says, he scoops the ball over the entire defense of Man City, and then Garth Crooks goes in and puts it in the back of the net. He made that look so simple. If Messi does that, if De Bruyne does that, if Ronaldinho does that, we're like, oh, Clark, that was Glenn Hoddle. And he did it in a big moment. An FA Cup final, it's a big moment, and he delivers. Hoddle was an outstanding talent.
That's not class. That's too much time and respect on the ball. He's talking about De Bruyne scoring from 25 yards out through somebody's legs. Jason, I feel like you've completely got. I'll be honest. What this has done straight away is
he was being shut down.
I can't take your opinion seriously. Kevin De Bruyne everyone was waxing it. It was class. It was absolutely class. If Son did this is the guy that hates Harry Kane. This guy, every show, all he talks about is hating on Harry Kane, which baffles me considering how good Harry Kane was at football. A couple of comments really quickly. Quincy B has said, we spank City. That's what we do. I don't remember when we last spanked them.
Beat them, yeah, not spank them.
Right, yeah. I feel like, again, these words that people chuck out, we spanked them. Didn't we beat them 1-0 and then they beat us 4-2 or the other way around?
We've never, the most we've ever beaten City by in the last kind of 5-6 years was 2-0 at home when Bergwijn scored that half volley.
Yes, yeah. And I don't think I'd call that a spanking, but never mind. Ryan, yes, I mean the reason I didn't put my man Lionel in there is because he didn't play in the Premier League. But listen, he's right and centre right there. By the way, this guy down here, he could pass a football as well. The old mucker David Shinola. But listen, look, I don't think he'll start. If I'm brutally honest, I don't think that Pep will start him. I think Pep is always very, very considered with how many minutes he gives players coming back from an injury. Right. And again, I guess that's the affordability to him of the squad that he's got. But I mean, what we don't want to see is, do we, a Kevin De Bruyne coming off the bench with 30 minutes to go and changing the game. And that's the difference between a Spurs and a City, right? Is the options that they're going to have off their bench compared to ours is frightening.
Yeah, we don't have a bench at the moment. Against Man United, it was Donnelly, Dorrington, Santiago, Brian Hill, and Dragusin and one other kid. So Dragusin's only coming on if a centre-back gets injured or we go ultra-defensive, which we've never done under Ange. And Emerson's only really coming on if, again, there's an injury to a wing-back. So if you look at the midfield options and the attack, we've literally got nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, absolutely. By the way, Angus, you know you are allowed to mention people that don't play for Arsenal, by the way. In any question we ask, every answer is an Arsenal player.
Can I say, guys, Henry, Modric, Fabregas, Scholes, I think they were all quality players. All I said was, I think in Premier League era, the best passer, if I was to pick one that was just slightly above everyone else, I would go with Kevin De Bruyne. I think he's the best passer of the ball that I've seen in Premier League history. That's all. That's doesn't mean the rest weren't brilliant. The rest were 9 out. If the rest were 9 out of 10, I'm giving De Bruyne a 10 out of 10. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. He's just different. And right now as well, when you look in the Premier League right now, other than De Bruyne, is there anyone at that level or close to it on par with De Bruyne? I can't see anyone. If I'm Britain, I can't see anyone.
No. Arsenal, no. Chelsea, no. Tottenham. Yeah. The way Maddison started the season, you say, hold on, he's challenging, but we can't say Maddison because he's missed 2 months. We don't know. And De Bruyne's 4 or 5 years in the bank.
Yeah.
So, probably not. No.
The world waxes lyrical over De Bruyne. Tottenham fans wax lyrical over Emerson Royale. Don't forget, we can't sell him. Just remember, we can't sell him. Still, let me look. Let's round off. We'll talk about Emerson Royale in a minute because it's just it's a topic that's doing the rounds. Why not? By the way, before we do that, please like and subscribe, guys. We're edging very, very much closer to 13K. It's not really a landmark, but it's just nice. Stel will tell you as a YouTuber, when you get to the next K, it just feels nicer. So if you could help me get to 13K, we're 81 away from that happening. So still a fair few to go, but please do smash the like button. We've only had 121 likes. There's 300 of you in here exactly. And please subscribe to Tottenham Away as they look for their next milestone as a channel as well. Tottenham Man City. what do you expect the 11 to be, and what's the scoreline going to be? And then we're going to move on from Tottenham Man City.
Vicario in goal, Porro, Udogie, Van de Ven, Romero back 4. I think Kulu will be back, and I think he'll play Kulu, Bentancur, and Højbjerg in the middle. He'll drop Skip. And then a front three of Timo, Richie, and Brennan.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think he'll do that. Yeah. And the only change I can see there is if James Maddison does play. But again, I've put out my concern is if you're playing Bentancur, Maddison, Van de Ven, and Romero, all just back from massive injuries, and that's the spine of your team still. I just think it's a huge, huge risk. But I agree. Give me a score. What's your score going to be?
So I went with 1-0 on your show on Sunday, and then yesterday we had this big argument on my channel, and I ended up going with 3-2 to Spurs. We're going to nick it after telling everyone. I don't know what happened after telling everyone we haven't got any goals in us, but I do have this feeling Spurs will nick it. I do, but I don't have any logic to back it up. I don't have any common sense to back it up. If I was to put money on it, I put my money on City to win. But I just think Spurs might. I've just got this. I don't know, Savva. It's just that weird vibe about this game where I think Spurs just nick it. But it doesn't mean we will deserve it. But who cares if we win? If we win, we win. Mm-hmm. How we win it? Sorry.
Big up the D's. I mean, look, if we're talking about, we're going back to when we were at our old stadium, we battered them. I mean, when was this? I mean, I don't know how much in the past you can go to drag out stats to suit narratives, but yeah, James Hunter said Berbatov was the most Hodder-less player we've had in the Prem. Berbatov doesn't get anywhere near enough praise for his ability. Like, just genius. Do you know what, Stel, right? This is where I always get in trouble. Whenever I'm always asked this, right? I'm sure we've done it on a show before and on 24-hour charity streams and that. Pick your all-time Premier League Spurs 11. And when I don't put Son in it because I opt for someone like Berbatov or Klinsmann, the hate I get is unreal. But for me, players like Berbatov, they really are every generation. There is hardly any Dimitar Berbatovs that are born. I don't think there's anyone in the world right now like Dimitar Berbatov. Different level.
Yeah. In terms of going to a football match and actually watching live games, I haven't seen a better player at Spurs. And this is just me going to live games. I never got to see Hoddle live. I had to watch loads of videos.
Yeah.
Actually watching a live player, I've never seen a better player with a first touch than Berbatov. His first touch was elite. And that allowed him to do everything that he did after that. Because as soon as you kill that ball, if you've got a brain and technique, you can do a lot of things. But in terms of first touch, the guy was different class.
Do you know what, Stel, right? So Graham, who I used to stream on here with, and he put me through all my coaching badges and stuff, he always used to teach me that it's not just about, it is about your first touch, but it's not always just about killing it dead. It's killing it stone dead in a position that allows you to keep playing. I.e., lots of people kill a ball stone dead right underneath their feet, and now they've got to maneuver to get the next pass out. And what Berbatov was genius at, what this guy was a master at, Ginola, their first touch always killed it dead just to the side of them, just to where their next pass was going to be, over on the right or the left. And that's the difference between those sort of players for me and players that are called world-class now. These players were different. There's no Berbatovs or Ginolas now. There's no one in the Premier League can hold a candle to Berbatov or Ginola for me now.
He was cold as ice. He was literally emotionless. That is class. You can't phase me. I'm not going to rush what I do because I'm that confident in what I can do. Do you know who reminds me, actually? Do you know who was similar to Berbatov but played a slightly different game? But they were very similar in terms of up here and technical ability. It was Dennis Bergkamp.
Class.
Very similar to that. They were very similar players, but just played a slightly different game.
Mate, there are players. There are players that come into this league, any league really, and stand out. Bergkamp, forget who he played for. Bergkamp came in and you went, he's different. Like like lots of players are good. Lots of players are quality. But some players are just that level up there. Even this guy, I don't know if you can see who that is.
No.
That's Teddy Sheringham. Even that guy.
Smart player. Smart player.
There. I'll do it at my pace, like you said. What do people say when they talk about people like Berbatov? Oh, he was lazy. No. Pulls into space. Did it his they do it with Messi. He doesn't run around. Watch Messi when he's off the ball. He'll pull into those little gaps where he knows he's going to get the ball and where he knows he can create play.
See, what's interesting about players like Teddy Sheringham, everyone knew he had no pace. Every single fan, every single player he came up against knew you haven't got pace. And yet he always managed to find the space to receive the ball. Now, if you're playing against another team and they know you haven't got space and they know the only thing you're going to try and do is try and find the space, okay, shut down the space on Teddy Sheringham. Yet he still managed to find it.
Yeah, class.
That is intelligence.
And
you know, when the other team know your strength and you still find a way to overcome them. That's intelligence.
Both Alan Shearer and Jurgen Klinsmann have both said in interviews that Teddy was the best strike partner they played with. Now, when you think of all the players in their career that Klinsmann and Shearer would have played with, you think Klinsmann played for over a decade up front for Germany. And by the way, not the Germany now, like the Germany that won World Cups, right? He played up front for great Bayern Munich teams, Inter Milan teams. Shearer played up front with some great players for England and Newcastle and Blackburn. Both of them said, Teddy Sheringham, that's how you know how good you are, right? Look, let's move on from some of the best we've seen to Kai Havertz. Yeah, Kai Havertz. He's a bit Berbatov-esque, yeah. And apologies, I always do try and find a way to get my man Ginola in. I just haven't ever had as much fun watching a player at the lane since this guy. Bale I loved, Kane I loved, but this guy for me it was what football was about for me. Emerson Royal. Still, I don't know where to start. Now, Emerson Royal is obviously becoming a topic of conversation because Spurs rejected a £20 million bid from Al Nassr or Nasir or Nassr. I get told if I'm saying it wrong. In the Saudi league. Now, all of a sudden, I do feel that there is a lot of revisionism going on as to how good he is. All of a sudden, he's a solid option. He's solid at fullback. He's solid when he fills in at centre half. He's versatile. Am I watching a different player to everyone else? Because I watch a player that when he's got the ball at his feet, I crap myself because he can't control a football. Where are you with Emerson Royal?
How is he versatile?
Because he can play right back, left back, and centre half, apparently.
Yeah, but anyone can play wherever the manager tells them. If the manager says play there, it's whether you do a good job at it or not. Like if you said to me, Stel, what position do you play? And I say to you, I like to play holding mid. Can you play right wing today? I'd rather not. I've got no one else. Okay, Gaffer. Now, whether I do a good job in that position or not, it's a different story. Emerson Royal was in the team that lost to West Ham, that lost to Villa, that lost to Brighton. This guy was part of the losing team in those games. He was part of the problem. Romero and Van der Ven come back in, we stop losing. Or we go to a tough game and we don't lose the game. I'm not saying Emerson Royal is absolute rubbish, like he's complete trash. But to suddenly say things like, and I heard the absolute mindless conversation I had to listen to earlier. Well, I chose to listen to it. It's my fault. I could have switched off. He's versatile. He's improved under Ange. He's gone from a 3 out of 10 to a 5 out of 10. You're still average. The fact that he stepped up when we needed him. How did he step up? We lost a lot of the games that he was supposedly stepping up in. Yes, he did well against Bournemouth and Everton, but let's have it right. Bournemouth and Everton outplayed us. We were just more clinical than them. They couldn't take their chances. don't say to me like Emerson Royal came into Spurs and the level stayed the same and we looked really good. I never saw that. Do I think he's playing better now than he's done last year? Yeah, I do. I do think he's playing better now. But do I think he's adequate replacement for a serious club that wants to win the league, European trophies? No way. No chance is he adequate replacement. He is part of the reason we went through that 5-game losing streak. He's part of that reason. He's not the reason. But there's other players that came in, like Brian Hill, Hybie Skips, even Sessegnon, I think. Did Sessegnon come back? Did he play a few minutes and got injured? I can't remember. But
he played a few minutes against Burnley and then got injured in those few minutes.
That's it. So the reason you saw this drop-off is because players like Emerson came back into the starting 11. That's the reason we dropped off, guys. So, look, I don't know. When people say versatility, stepped up, I just think, no. You're in the squad, and as long as you're in the squad, there's a chance you might have to play. That chance came, you played, and we dropped off. So I personally would take 20, 30 million from him now because I don't see who pays that in 6 months' time to a year. I'd rather take the maximum we can now, add some more money on top, and invest in a higher quality player like an Udogie, like a Porro of that level and say, come and challenge for places. Can you kick Udogie out of the starting 11? Can you kick Porro out of the starting 11?
Yeah.
Because that's how championship winning teams do it.
Yeah. If you are nowhere near doing that, we don't want you, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the problem is what we do a lot as a fan base. If you notice, we talk about backup. When you, as I've always said, if you set City as the benchmark, as the team that win everything, you couldn't tell me their back four from 1 week to the next. You couldn't tell me in the right order. One time, Vardiel's left back, then he's centre half. Ake's left back, then he's centre half. John Stones is in centre mid, then he's centre half. Walker's right back. Next thing you know, he's tucking into midfield. Ruben Diaz plays 1 week. The next week is Akanji. We're so fixated on backups and, he does a job. For me, I think Emerson Royal was our best player against Burnley. Right? Our best player against Burnley. Other than that, I feel like, again, as I said, I feel it's like the revisionism of, he's come in and done well. Well, hang on. If that's the case, when I'm sitting there saying to people, we didn't do that well today. Yeah, but look at the centre halves who are out. But hang on, these are now the centre halves that people are saying you want to keep. Which one is it still? Either they're not good enough and we don't trust them when they come in, or you want to keep them. You can't. Surely it can't be both ways, can it?
We've got to stop being emotional about players. Just because they wear the Spurs top, just because they wear the cockerel, it doesn't mean we have to make them sound better than what they are and just get by them and stand by them through absolutely everything. On a match day, support them. Whether we like it or not, they're playing. You've got to back your team. But that doesn't mean we should accept it as the norm, because otherwise we will never improve as a club. We will never ever go forward. We've got to get to that place where we say, do you know what? You stepped in for 4 or 5 games when we were depleted. Thank you. But that's not the direction we're going in. This is the direction we're going in. We need another Porro. We need another Maddison. We need another Udogie. That's what we need at this club. And you just don't cut that what's it called? You don't make the cut. So it doesn't mean we have to I think we've got this thing at Spurs where if we say someone's just not good enough, or listen, they're not the level we want, people don't hear that. They hear you hate Tottenham. You don't respect that he played for us when we had injuries. No, what we're saying is if you want to win a league, start behaving like City and Liverpool. If you want to win a Champions League, start behaving like Bayern Munich. Start behaving like teams that get to semi-finals every year. By having Emerson Royal, we're not behaving like that. And that's the point, isn't it?
I think one of the key things for me is that I've taken a lot of heat this year, as you know. There's always something I'm taking a lot of heat for.
Every week I get it.
Every weekday. I've taken a lot of heat this year because I was adamant that Spurs won't win the league. I was adamant that Spurs won't win the league, and what I'm told is Savva, up your ambition. Savva, be more positive. Okay, cool. So my positivity and my ambition is, cool, let's get better players then and win leagues. Right? Then, on from that, so I'm going, right, Emerson Royal, someone's putting a bit of 20 million. We can use that money to go and buy better footballers. Oh, you can't sell Emerson Royal. Hang on. You guys were telling me we're winning leagues and I need more ambition. I choose better footballers than Emerson Royal. And I'm told, no. We need Emerson Royal. People go, who can you replace him with? Who can you replace him with? Are you kidding me? Who can you replace him with? Oh my gosh. I just no, Jason, no one's saying about winning the league now. No, you're not. It's gone over your head, isn't it? Never mind. Don't worry, it went over your head. Look, yeah, Jason, put it on. If you're critical to Ange, you don't like him. If you're critical towards Son, look. If you're critical to Savva Stelios, you're a hero. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, just quickly, let's see what we got saved here. By the way, smash the likes. Come, people, smash the likes. Stel, there's over 300 people in here. We've got 147 likes. It really is hard work getting likes from the Spurs fan base. And we're out here every day giving you content. Yeah, we can't tell them something about Barrett. I know. The Emerson Royal fan club. Yeah, Rob Birch, I completely agree with you. Emerson Royal makes me think I could be a footballer too. Listen, all I'm saying is you've got to have it both ways. If you're going to talk about being a top club that want to win things, you can't then in the same breath be championing Emerson Royal staying at the football club. If a club comes in, I did a video yesterday still. And I think, again, you know what it's like when you do a video and 95% of it goes over some people's heads and they just hear the one bit they want. Yeah. I said, Spurs have to sell to buy. Now, I did go on to explain in the video that I'm not saying we have no money as a club, but all football clubs, yeah, sell players, buy new players. Sell players, get transfer fee in, get wages off the books, free up a squad place, and you evolve and you go again. People then come back to me, why do we have to sell to buy? I'm like, no, you're not. You have to you're constantly evolving. Man City every year. So we said last year, it was Gundogan went, Mahrez went, Laporte went, Cancelo went, right? They bring new players in. This year will be probably Bernardo Silva might go. Carl Walker might. Do you know what I mean? That's the point I was making. And I got told, oh, you're so dumb, Savva. Spurs don't need to sell anyone. Do you see where I'm coming from? I said Brian Hill, Lo Celso, Royal. If you're getting money for these players whose contracts are running out, get the money, reinvest, buy better. Is that mad?
No, it's called ambition. I think there's a belief in the Spurs fan base that with the current team that we've got, we can win a league title with the current squad if they're all fit. They actually think with this squad, we can win a league title as long as everyone's fit. It's deluded. There's no evidence. There's no data. There's nothing to back that up other than just, I believe. It's my opinion. The thing is, once upon a time, people used to believe the world was flat. Now what? They thought the moon was made of cheese. You've got to back it up with some evidence. No team has ever won the Premier League without having forget Leicester, because that was the anomaly and that was the year that all the main clubs were in transition. But no team in the last 20 years has won the Premier League without investing in at least 2 or 3 high quality proven players to get it over the line, and where they had a pretty decent squad. So the bench of 6, you look at it and you think, that's not bad at all. That is not bad at all. When we look at our bench most games, we're thinking, go back to the start of the season. Oh shit, we're 1 injury away from Dyer. Oh shit, we're 1 injury away from Davies and Emerson. Oh shit, we're 1 injury away from Højbjerg. Now that comes, no, you lot hate Tottenham. No. I'm going by what everyone said at the start of the season.
Yeah, of course.
It's almost like we've moved the needle to suit this emotional sentiment we've got for players. I've got nothing against just being a top 4 club, but stop calling us a big club if that's what we are. I want us to just say, look, thank you to Emerson, thank you to Dyer, thank you to Davies. Thank you to Brian Hill. Thank you to Timo Brennan. Thank you. But we want to win a league.
Mm-hmm.
We need to bring in those players now to just add to the young players and the middle-aged 25-year-olds that we've already got.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Angus, looks like our club and your club have got something in common then. Yous cannot win a league title. Neither can you lot. Don't worry about it, Arsenal. You ain't winning this league either. Why is it I see him say yous and then I start talking like ain't? Like, what's that about? Guys, just some breaking news. Bayern Munich have just put in a second bid for Kieran Trippier. 15 million euros is the offer that has just gone in to Newcastle for Kieran Trippier. Leander Dendoncker is signing for Napoli on loan from Aston Villa until the end of the season. So watch this space, whether or not Aston Villa do something to cover him or whether they feel they've already got enough. Calvin
Sorry, is Tuchel trying to sabotage Bayern Munich?
I've no idea what he's doing, mate. I have no idea what they're doing.
Mate, he's losing the plot. I don't understand what they're doing.
I have no idea. I have no idea. But they've put in another bid, 15 million euros. It's just been announced. And also Calvin Phillips, as we know, has signed for West Ham United on loan. I think that's a great bit of business for player and both clubs. If I'm honest, I think that's a really
quality
good move
for West Ham. That's quality for West Ham.
Yeah, a lot of games of football West Ham have. They seem to play every year about 60 games because they go deep into Europe. And a good signing for them. Stel, look, it's been a good show. I've really, really enjoyed it. I hope you have as well. Anything else you wanted to bring up and discuss before we leave?
Nah, there's not much going on at the moment. We're kind of rinsing and repeating most of the conversation. So, yeah, covered it all, really. All I'd say is to Spurs fans watching, we need to raise our levels as fans and start wanting better. And better means you just got to let go of that emotional attachment. You might have a couple of players because they've stepped in or they've kind of improved a little bit. Start aiming for the stars, guys. We've got this amazing new stadium, this training facility, record money profit, state-of-the-art academy facility. We've got every bit of income from all sorts of sports, NFL, rugby, Beyonce, F1 coming. Let's raise our levels and say, right, well, let's shoot for the stars now and stop being kind of comfortable with this whole, no, we're all right. Push.
Yeah, look, I completely agree with you. I mean, someone said to me earlier, what would you do about replacing Royale in this window? And I said, is it imperative that we did? So, for example, if they came in and offered 30 million for him and he went, are you telling me that left back, you've got Udogie that can play? Well, Udogie plays there. Ben Davis can play there when he's back in a couple of weeks. Sessegnon can play there. And at a push, Van der Ven played there loads in Germany. Van der Ven's fluent at left back. Centre half, you've now got Van der Ven, Romero and Dragoshin battling it out for two places, plus Ben Davis when he's back, we know can play there, plus Alfie Dorrington can play there as well. And then at right back, you've got Pedro Porro who plays there. Both Romero and Dragoshin can both play at right back as well. For me, I looked at this and went, so I know I said I was ending the show, but I've just started a new conversation. I looked at that and it's like, I don't see the issue. We play once a week. I saw it as an issue when we didn't have Van der Ven and Romero, but you've now got Van der Ven, Romero and Dragoshin. I think we're more than well equipped at the back to play once a week with that squad. I don't know about you. I really think we are now.
Worst case scenario, you get a player from the under-21s and he plays. Like the absolute worst case scenario. There are players there that can come in and do a job, which is what it's all Emerson Royal did. He did a job. So no, I don't think we should be worrying about, but there's no cover there. We're all right. We've got players that can slot in. At the end of the day, we had no cover at centre back. Davies and Royale played there, and everyone said, "Look how good they did." So can that not happen for the right back position as well?
Yeah, I think it's a sad indictment if you have to keep Emerson Royale because you believe he's the best successor for covering a player. But hey, it is what it is. Listen, Stel, thanks so much. By the way, Carl Walker-Peters, for me, I'd want to see him come back up and I'd want to see what he does in the Premier League first. I don't know about you. I just don't feel like this is again ambition. I feel like again this would be a meh signing. I don't know about you, Stel.
Not for me. Not for me.
Listen, if he comes back up next year with Southampton, has a brilliant year, and you go, okay, maybe, but not for me. Guys and girls, big up. Thank you very much. We'll be back tomorrow for a Wednesday morning chat. Wednesday? Yes, a Wednesday morning chat with Savva. We'll be back Thursday night for Spurs Unleashed as well. Please get over to Tottenham Away and subscribe there. Please subscribe here. We're now only 78 away from 13K, so we're closing down that gap. Much love to everyone. I've just forgot a topic I wanted to talk about. Never mind, we'll do it next week. Everybody, much love. See you later. Go on, Stel.
I was going to say, if you want to do it quickly, do it.
No. I was just going to ask you. I can't believe I'm doing this. Just going to ask you. I was going to bring up this table. Where are we? I was going to bring up the Premier League table. I don't know if you can see that there. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always put it down to 11th for Ryan Griffiths in the chat. Ryan, you are welcome. We'll get Wolves in there for you, brother. Still, the gap to Liverpool is 8 points. Gary Neville said last week he thinks Spurs can finish above Liverpool in second. It's a big swing now, isn't it, mate? 17 games to go. If Liverpool win 12 of their last 17, Spurs have to win 15, which means we can only drop 2 games. It's a bit too much to ask in year one, isn't it, for Big Ange?
Arsenal would have to beat Liverpool and Spurs win that game to get it back to 5 points. Yeah. And then it's possible. But I think with the firepower Liverpool have got, we can't match that firepower. And that's why Liverpool have scored more goals than us this season in the Premier League. The other thing I'll say is when a lot of Spurs fans say, oh, but look at the amount of goals we scored, we're third in the league. 30% of all the goals we scored in the Premier League this year were in 3 games. In 3 games.
Yeah.
4 against Newcastle, 5 against Burnley, and there was another one where it was 4 or 3. But 30% of our goals came in 3 games, guys. When you average out those goals, you can't just average out those goals. We couldn't score against Villa. We couldn't score against West Ham. We struggled against Brighton, yeah?
Yeah.
But we go to Burnley, we put 5 past them. We play Newcastle, we put 4 past them. So we've got to put a bit of context to the goals scored. I just feel Spurs will not finish above Liverpool this season on the simple fact that Liverpool's firepower is just better than ours. They've got more options, guys, better options.
Yeah, listen, I'm not knocking it. I look, you know what I've said all year. And by the way, that's just talking about Liverpool. That's not even taking into account what Man City are going to do. And I don't know if anyone has looked. Go and have a look, people, at Liverpool and Man City's next 7 games.
Yeah, they've got easy games.
I can't see many defeats. And then the 8th game is against each other. So that's going to be, I don't think they're going to drop many points between them in the next 7 games. And then I think it's going to be huge all on that game at Anfield.
I do think though, and I stick by this, and I think this will, and I'm not going to change my thought on this, even if we lose 2 or 3 games now, Spurs will get top 4 this season. I firmly believe Spurs will get top 4. We might finish above Arsenal. I don't think we will, but we might. But I think top 4, Spurs are going to do it. And I've said that for a few months now and I haven't budged on it. I firmly believe we will get top 4. But not above Liverpool. Not above Liverpool.
Listen, I think what we've done brilliantly already is, barring a disaster, I'm going to apply my same logic to the top of the table as I am going the other way still. If you look from 5th to 8th, which is no Europe, the gap we've created there is the same as the gap that Liverpool have created to us. So again, I'll say for Chelsea, Man United and Brighton to finish above Tottenham, they're going to have to, if Spurs win 10 of their last 17, 12 of us, then those clubs are going to have to win 15. When you get to this stage of the season, I think that's really important. The 3-game swing is a big swing. It's a really, really big swing because Liverpool have lost 1 game all season. And now you're saying not only would they have to lose 3 more, but we wouldn't be able to lose 1. Do you know what I mean? So it's a big ask, but I think we'll be 4th or 5th. I think it's going to be 4th or 5th. I think if he gets 3rd or 4th, though, still, I'll say it now. What a sensational first season he's had.
Considering we were in the mud and we lost Harry Kane, it's unbelievable because we've never got top 4 without Kane, except for under Redknapp. What I will say though is that out of Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Villa, Spurs, West Ham, Brighton, Man United, and Chelsea, we, along with United and Chelsea, are the only teams without European football. And that does give us an advantage because I don't think we would have been top of the league after 10 games if we had Europe. There's no freaking way. In fact, had we not got out of the Carabao Cup, I don't think we would have been top of the table. But without Europe, I think Spurs have got a big advantage over the other top six around us.
Got to make it count. Got to make it count. By the way, someone here said... Someone said that the only way it will happen is if Liverpool have a really bad injury crisis. Listen, I'm just going to say, go and have a look at the number of players they're missing right now. It's quite a lot of players. What they've done brilliantly is utilise Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Conor Bradley, Joe Gomez. They've really filled in. And look, that's all. I'm not saying what they've done is brilliant, but what I'm saying is that's the difference between having a squad and not. That's the difference between fans.
No. Yeah, go on. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say it's the difference between fans wanting a keeper in Emerson Royale, where I'd rather have my backup player as a Joe Gomez. I'm not saying he's the best player in the world, but Joe Gomez I trust at right back and centre half. I don't panic. Emerson Royale, I panic wherever he is on the pitch. That's the difference for me. It's the levels. It's the levels of the squad depth.
I think what's key for Liverpool at the moment, with the injuries they do have, is Jota. I think Jota he's been such a superb signing for Liverpool. And for me, I think he's the cleanest finisher at Liverpool. In terms of finishing, I think he's the cleanest finisher. Yeah. So if Jota was to get injured, it would be interesting to see what happens with Liverpool. But with Jota there, I think it's a tall order for anyone to say Spurs will finish above Liverpool. In fact, I think that's more of a statement to create controversy and a big talking point amongst us, as opposed to actually meaning it. I don't think Gary Neville means that. I think he's done a bit of talk. No. It's a clickbait comment, surely.
I think so. But fans grasped at it and went, "Oh, Gary Neville said we can finish above them." And I just thought, can you see Liverpool dropping 3 games? I say 3 games. That would mean Spurs don't drop a game still. If Spurs drop 1 more game, Liverpool have to drop 4 more. Do you know what I mean? And it's getting to the stage where I can't see them losing 3 or 4 games. So listen, it is what it is. Look, as I've said all along, I predicted 5th to 7th. I can't be contradictory now. I predicted 5th to 7th. Happily be wrong and finish 3rd or 4th. But right now we're sitting where I kind of thought we would be still, 5th place. But the gap between us and the Man United, the Brightons and the Chelseas, for me, is brilliant. Keep that gap. Because what would be a failure now, from where we are now still, what would be a failure is if we somehow finished below either Brighton, Man U, or Chelsea. I think now that would be failure from where we are.
I don't think we finished below any of those clubs.
I agree.
I don't.
I agree. Look, guys and girls, it's been great. We went on 5 minutes longer than we should have. Take care, everyone. Please go over and subscribe to Stel. Please subscribe to me. We're only 76 away now from 13K. Subscribe to Stel. Smash the like button on your way out. Take care, everyone. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on.